Silent of fall! Lakewood are doing it! They're gonna take! He's gonna bring down Birdie! Alone with a double kill! Dropping fast! Monopoint's there! He's still alive! Wait, second slide! He's going one side! He's going a second! He's taking it! They're overdone! On three! They're all dead!
Hello everyone and welcome back. It's the Summit 2 by G2A.com. We're in the China region and we have our third matchup of the night of 4 that we got total. Saw some exciting matchups already, maybe some upsets here and there. DK just came off a pretty impressive performance against Hyper Glory Team, but here we go. We got another one for you. So Invictus Gaming are going to be taking on LAI Gaming, a battle of the gamings, if you will. Invictus Gaming just came off a recent performance in the Seoul Cup, so they have a lot of games that they are just kind of bulldozing through for tonight. So hopefully their fatigue and endurance can keep it on up. Bringing you the English coverage is going to be myself, Dakota, but also known as Coddle Guy, and back again, it's going to be Mr. Blaze. Blaze, how you doing, my friend? We're making it here. We got 2 more to go. And man, would you look at the 1-2 punch that IG have pulled out in this draft.
Oh, most definitely. It's really exciting to see them draft this way and kind of go into these new meta tactics. I mean, DP is a hero that we've seen a lot of, but she's being used in different ways than we used to see. It's not just the hard death ball. They're actually trying to make use of her team fights more often in ultimates, not just for objectives, but also for the fights themselves. So really excited to see what will be pulled out of that one. Last time I saw Invictus Gaming, they actually had Luo running on the Death Prophet, but as far as I understand it, he's their Terrorblade player. Like, I mean, there is the possibility that Ferrari could pick up one of the Terrorblade in some instances, but I expect it to be Luo running that TB, and then the Death Prophet will be in the hands of Ferrari himself. So excited to see what those core players can pull out and how much space can be created for them to really hit their peaks. It's really interesting to go into how those heroes can survive against as far as like their armor values and stuff like that. DP very weak to physical damage, Terrorblade very strong against it, but on the other hand, he is very vulnerable to that magical damage output.
So let's see here. Death Prophet and Terrorblade, a nightmare, if you will, off the bat. In the hands of some of the better players who can really utilize this kind of a hero, he could be real troublesome. The first one that pops to mind, of course, is Eternal Envy, who has now earned the immediate respect ban anytime Cloud9 get to play, and now we get to see it in the hands of some of the Eastern scenes. So I'm real excited how they're going to make it work. Terrorblade's drawbacks typically are in the early game. You know, he has such weak health pool, like 450 life or something like that. He can be easily taken apart if he does not get the space he wants to build up that farm. So LAI Gaming need to look to be able to have some aggressive movement. They already have a Centaur War Runner who can provide a lot with his global, but they're going to need a bit more to really keep the attention on Terrorblade. But while you're busy doing that, a Death Prophet could be also building up into her own. But another hero that also needs to get bursted down. Heavy burst seems to work, and also building up some heavy bit of armor. Other teams will usually fall back on something like a Sven, who can provide extra utility with his aura as well, or his Warcry rather. And then, of course, with his God Strength, he can really cleave her down. But now, at this point, with their already Centaur Warner and Brew on the field, it'd be a bit risky to commit so much melee. So we'll see how they decide to turn it about. Invictus Gaming also grab another powerhouse hero here, the Bat Rider, for their off-lane potential and great lockdown hero. So he'll be able to sweep in and bring him into the already serious storm of exorcism and severe damaging illusions that Terrorblade's going to have. I'm already very fearsome for Invictus Gaming and how LAI Gaming are going to try to come back in this one.
Yeah, but LAI Gaming have shown amazing strides in the past several months, taking games off of Tier 1 teams all the time, and they really impressed me, specifically with their performance in Starlander. Made it very far in through the Chinese region, and yeah, I think they're drafting pretty smart here. I mean, the Brewmaster and Centaur are kind of good bread and butter heroes for getting good initiations off, trying to control the team fights, and maybe nuke down the Death Prophet a little bit faster so that the Exorcism doesn't take its toll. But I think this Shadow Demon is the right reactive pick. The Morphling was banned out, so there weren't going to be any illusion play replicates on the Terrorblade, but the Shadow Demon can do that for himself. You disrupt the Terrorblade, you get those very beefy illusions for yourself,
10
hopefully under
seconds
Metamorphosis,
remaining.
and you're going to be able to do a lot with them. It's also a great hero to react to
5
situations
seconds
like the
remaining.
Batrider Lasso. You have the Lasso coming in, defensive disruption, and
Invictus
Brewmaster and Centaur are going to be there to
Gaming's turn to
counter-initiate. So honestly, I think that although IG have some great heroes to get the jump, LAI Gaming might be able to, even when they're caught out a little bit, be able to just run their opposition down. Not only the Stampede movement buff, but now the track, they're
10
really going to be able to
seconds
lock down
remaining.
specific targets and bring them down quickly. And that's what they need to do against
5
most of these
seconds
heroes.
remaining.
Yeah, I agree about the Shadow Demon. Taking that away from the side of Invictus Gaming is nice because he
Reserve
works
time.
so potently with Terrorblade, but now also works to their benefit as a great counter to Batrider. So kind of two birds with one stone with that grab. Very fantastic. But here we go. I'm really percolated about this one. Bounty Hunter. This is a sneaky, sneaky critter who could really add a lot of pressure to your Terrorblade and even your mid lane. I've seen a couple of teams pick it up and make it well worth their while, and I'm really intrigued. Used to be well known for being, a promising offlaner, being able to be very elusive, hiding out, and still soaking in the XP required. But obviously with a Centaur already on the field, I'd wager this would be more of a position 4 Bounty Hunter. That's just my guess at it right now, as I would imagine their position 1 will be their 5th grab. And for the side of Invictus Gaming, they're going to hope to round out their support duo. They get the Witch Doctor who brings the
team
sustain and adds a little more oomph to their heavy pushing power. They could enhance that even further, maybe get something like a Shadow Shaman if they want to be even more push crazy. We'll see.
Yeah, it really depends on how they want to play this style. Like, they could go for like a hyper aggressive lineup
10
and pick up
seconds
something
remaining.
even more like non-carry. They could go like a
Invictus
Clockwork and just
Gaming's
start running down
turn
their
to pick.
opposition if they wanted to. Just try to pin them down with a lot of
Dire
magical
team
nuke
pick.
damage and just get kill after kill after kill. But in 6.82, it's really hard to actually feel confident going into the mid game with that kind of lineup. One misstep, one poorly done fight, and suddenly you're going to regret not having that scalability into the late game. So I think they are going to go for something traditional for XDD here. The Morphling banned out, the Mirana banned out, but still he's looking for his hard carry pickup. And as you mentioned, that brings the Bounty Hunter into the 4 position. He can
10
roam
seconds
and
remaining.
be very annoying. Okay, no, they are going for what I would look at as a no carry lineup. I mean, the Centaur will be
Yeah.
the safe lane farmer maybe, or the Centaur will be, but they are really just trying to gain huge amounts of tempo off of this track gold and bring down everything that IG stand for before Ferrari or Luo get big.
Yeah, I'm perplexed right now. This is like, we got to get our job done before it even gets to like the 30-minute mark at this point. Heaven forbid we allow it to go much further than that. And I feel like IG are well aware of that. I was, banking on maybe they go for a pushing support, but I think after seeing Bounty Hunter and getting the idea that LAI Gaming are going to consider to go very aggressive really early, they need someone to be there globally to help out with the heal. Living Armor is one of the best at it, but I would imagine Treant might have his hands full as trying to
10
keep everyone
seconds
alive and everyone in
remaining.
check. But here we go. It's a hand that LAI Gaming are
5
dealing.
seconds
It's almost a
remaining.
blitz call right now, as this is going to be no true late game core and more about we need to get our objectives done right away. We need to make sure that none of these IJ members get to the point where they could be a real big problem, and we'll see if it works out
Prepare
for them. We
for
go ahead
battle.
and hop into the game itself. It's our third matchup. IG taking on LAI Gaming here for the Summit 2 China by D2A.com. I'll lead out your introduction starting here for your Invictus Gaming squad. June is going to be heading to the off lane on his Batrider. On the mid lane, it's going to be none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ferrari 420. He's going to be playing your Death Prophet. Well decorated, of course, but just as ugly as ever. Meanwhile, nearby, it's Am I saying this right? Is this an alias, Blaze, that I'm missing out on?
That would be Cheesebug.
Cheese?
Chizbug.
Chizbug, that's right. It was like rattling my mind. I knew I was forgetting someone. Chizbug is going to be playing your Treant Protector, and over nearby it's Jai, or Luo, correct? Going to be playing your
Yeah.
Terrorblade? Okay,
Correct.
sorry. These aliases, man. These kids, can they just please try to keep things in
30
uniform, for
seconds
God's
to
sakes?
battle.
And of course, none other than Chuan, the face of IG, next to Ferrari, is going to be playing your Witch Doctor.
Well, looking over at LAI Gaming, they certainly have the uniform names. You don't have to remember any aliases, but you might still struggle with it. We've got a lot of similar sounding ones here. We're going to be looking at Centaur Warrunner. Their carry player is XDD, piloting him. We're going to have XZ on the mid lane Brewmaster, starting off in that matchup versus the Death Prophet. That's going to leave
battle
XTT, the
begins.
Bounty Hunter, to be the number 4 roaming support. Already a ward available, looking to mess with the Batrider if he rotates into the jungle. Otherwise, just find his openings on the solo lanes. But it is going to be Super, not the one from Vici Gaming previously. It is just another one in the Chinese professional scene named Super on the Darkseer off lane. And that is going to leave the final support role to be picked up by 5400 on the Shadow Demon up top.
And that is indeed Super. They just love that name, apparently, as he will look to get it done over there in the off lane. We were, expecting big things out of Darkseer last game, which he could have offered a lot, but he really played it way over aggressive. So very finicky stuff. And right now he's already getting zoned out. Just as I say that, they're really bullying him back right there and really going to make things difficult. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Batrider has taken advantage of that invisibility rune. That's the biggest disruption ball I've seen in my life, as they do bat him up right there and try to zone him back as well. So they're going to be rolling with a 2-1-2 kind of a lineup as this bounty runner is looking to scout things out down here. And looking over, you see a tree who has one sentry right there. He's trying to deward. That sentry's not going to cut it, so still it's going to be creep blocked out, and Bounty Hunter is not near the detection just yet. So already he's trying to be really, really pesky.
Yeah, so for right now, XCT is going to be pulling back the wave here. He's going to make it a little bit easier for Darkseer to do his thing. And because he already checked the pockets of supports and knows there's no Dust of Appearance available, he knows that he's going to be safe here. The Train Protector does have Leech Seed. There is the Cask that we're going to see thrown out at him, but it's just going to be pinprick harassment. He's got Tangos. He's pulling the creep wave around, and he's going to guarantee some good experience for him in Super. So they're playing this duo off lane. He's happy to do that for now. Eventually, he will go MIA, and that's what the Sentry Ward in the mid is all about here for the Radiant side. They want to make sure that Ferrari is safe, and if there is a Bounty Hunter coming in from the side, they need to know about it.
Yeah, very valuable ward right there, so that this Death Prophet doesn't get too in danger, because it's very valuable that she gets as much CS as possible early on and really gets the ball rolling on that. And speaking of getting the ball rolling, using their smoke, it's IG here, the support duo, quickly snags up that bounty rune, and they start beelining it towards the top right now. Would love to be able to get a hold, maybe a quick down here on 5400, the Shadow Demon. But with that disruption, could make things a little bit tricky, so we'll see as they're really creeping on in slowly but surely. And for the bottom, it's still Bounty Hunter and Darkseer side by side, leaving the Terrorblade alone here. So they don't quite know where the supports are yet. I'm sure they're kind of putting out the communication, and once they see that they're committed toward this top, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they turn up the harassment. Actually, they know right now they've been missing for quite a while, so it's put out there. Shadow Demon has to be cautious, but he's getting caught up going for this pull, and he has to be careful right now. And oh, how convenient. He does stagger back right there, and this is going to be some time wasted for these two supports on IG if they don't get anything done, and they need to decide on what they're going to do quickly.
Yeah. Generally speaking, when you see a roaming support bounty hunter, you want to invest more into preventing him from accomplishing his goals. But in this case, they've roamed so much that they seem to have kind of given him the free time. So it's going to be requiring a lot of great map sets in the hands of Ferrari here, because although he's able to get aggressive against XZ now with the Crypt Swarms, one more bottle sip and he's going to be the one turned on. We do see the Train Protectors nearby, but at only level 1, the Orb of Venom, the Janata, it's going to be very annoying for Ferrari, though he does, of course, have that sentry we talked about.
Yep, and now Bounty Hunter knows he sees the creeps aggressing towards him, so he can't really make a proper move here on the mid lane without dewarding it first. So now with that intel, we'll kind of see how he decides to change his behavior, because he can't just go in full and forward on Ferrari. So he changes his pace and heads right back towards the bottom. Same goes for Tree, who doesn't have level 2 yet, so still no living armor. So if LAI Gaming are able to get a hold of anyone, he will not be there to assist globally. Chuan, meanwhile, on the top, he's going to just kind of plant himself here and kind of contest this side pull, soak up some solo XP for himself, while you still have Batrider over here on the side taking on these creeps well and under the tire. He also has a bottle for himself. They'll look for him to go on the runes here, which, speaking of which, it's about the 4 minutes now. Quickly, it's going to be Ferrari who grabs up the DD, and bottom, the bounty, is going to be grabbed up from the Bruise. So each mid grabs a rune for themselves and heads on back. Meanwhile, bottom lane, though, very aggressive, trying to go on Terrorblade, who's pretty low. He pulls out the Metamorphosis, and that is huge damage. So don't be overzealous and get caught out by the big right click from the big fearsome demon.
Yeah, he did pop that very early on just to enable his CS. Essentially, as soon as he saw the Bounty Hunter on mid lane, that's when he knew, okay, I have a little bit of time, a little bit of space, I can 1v1 this Darkseer, and with the Metamorphosis find some good last hits. So he's already back up to 17, despite the early suppression from Gondar.
I like this play. They gave Bounty Hunter an Ion Shell, and he TP'd right to top, and they get something with it. XDD gets the last hit in, and they want more. They're going right for Chuan right now, and they will be able to get him. And this is going to be a nice two-man takedown here. But all the meanwhile, they do also take the Centaur. But still, advantage there for LAI Gaming. I love the plays. An Ion Shell rotating Bounty Hunter makes it look relatively easy. They would have been better off had they not lost the Centaur, but still happy with the trade.
Yeah, actually, the Darkseer Iron Shell did a lot of damage to Luo that put him in that defensive position when they actually had the Invis Bounty Hunter. For about 3 seconds straight, the Iron Shell was ticking on him before he started to react and move back towards his tower. And yeah, that did bring Luo pretty low, but now he's back up to snuff. The real action there is getting that kill momentum for XTT on top, because he's up to level 4. He's going to be putting more points into Shuriken, at least for now. He gets the second value point. Usually we talk about 1 value point, but for Shuriken, you get double the damage output out of his second point in that Shuriken toss, and then you can consider ranking it up from there or going for other things. But with that new change to the Shuriken, how it bounces around to track targets, you might actually consider maxing it, as Magical Nuke is going to be very important. But mid lane,
yeah, mid lane, they make a move on in for Brew. Brew quickly pulls out the split and turns his attention right into Chuan. And they also Cyclone up DP, so she won't be able to contribute a whole lot here. How far is he going to commit, though? He sends in 2 of the bears and then quickly pulls back. Disruption going to fly out here from Shadow Demon, looking at income. And they also throw up the Cyclone once again. So unfortunately, he does commit his Primal Split. Won't be able to take anyone down, but he grabs instead the Bounty Rune there on the top, which at the same time, where the hell did the other rune go? It was quickly grabbed up from Darkseer, it looks like, and he got back to lane so freaking quick, I didn't even notice it. So he steps on back, and meanwhile still adding pressure there on the mid lane, but unfortunately they don't quite take down the support.
yeah, so, I mean, that was just kind of a necessity since he was under so much pressure and had the Maledict ticking on him. Very lucky they actually hit level 6 at that particular point in time. Still being controlled pretty heavily. Ferrari, he is one that will always take the opportunities to control his lane, and even though the creeps are low enough for Crypt Swarms, he's actually holding back right now. Oftentimes, a Death Prophet
they're going to trap Tree. They circle him perfectly, but he slips on through still. That Iron Shell does a reasonable amount of damage, but an immediate rotation in from Chuan. Says, get the hell back from my tree, please.
Yeah,
and they also
I'm not
throw
sure
the Iron
if there was
Shell
a
on tree.
misclick there, but Cheesebug is actually afflicted by the Iron Shell here as well. So maybe he's trying to refresh the one on the Bounty Hunter. In either case, that's not going to be doing too much of anything. But we do see another TP coming down. Despite not having split available, XZ wants to get on the action down bottom.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get a quick kill, this
Dire's
would put
middle
him
tower
much
is
closer
under
to that
attack.
ideal Blink Dagger, but this is
Dire's
pretty much what we were
structures
expecting
are
out of LAI Gaming.
fortified.
They're going to pressure as long as possible, because the late game is going to be rough.
Dire's middle
So this is their
tower is
best
under
chance
attack.
to try to take the game and really break down IG. So they move on in. They use that Stampede. They love to get a hold of Terrorblade. Man, he gets low quick, but he pulls out Sunder right on Darkseer. Now Darkseer is stuck in the corner. They quickly do take down Chuan, but poor Darkseer, caught in the corner, will fall, but still, that wall goes to work. He actually lives. Oh, man. Yeah, man, Tree also falls. This is going fantastically right now for LAI Gaming. It forces Ferrari to get in, and he does not catch him with the Crypt Swarm. That couldn't have gone any better, and Super is going to make a nice escape. Man, he barely got away from that one, and that wall already put in some very nice work.
Yeah, the 2 skills that you almost never see skilled up at level 6 are going to be the Sunder and the Wall of Replica, but both actually accomplishing quite a bit in that last fight there. The Sunder obviously turning the tables on Darkseer, and he had a perfect position where he had him
Radiant's top
blocked
tower
in the
is
tree
under
line, but
attack.
because he was in Metamorphosis and that enhances
Dire's
his
middle
base
tower
damage,
has
that
been
Wall of
denied.
Replica did a huge amount of damage to him in turn, and Super with the level 2 surge was able to just barely get out of the range of that Crypt Swarm. So honestly, just a huge turn of the tide in favor of LAI Gaming, and they certainly need that kind of momentum because of the lineup they're running, the non-carry lineup, but it's just spectacular to see it done in that fashion. Committing the first Stampede for some great kill momentum. They won't be able to follow it up with towers for a while, like they don't have a push-oriented lineup, but if they can get track online, it's almost like
Radiant's
having an
bottom
extra tower
tower
kill
is
every
under
time you
attack.
get a full team wipe. So they definitely want to make sure that Bounty gets 6 and they can capitalize even further on their kill momentum.
Looking to rush on in, though, is Brew using that Invis. He's not going to scout anyone out just yet, and he's still a little ways away from getting a hold of that Blink Dagger. And still, they're not
Radiant's
going to let
bottom
Bounty
tower
Hunter
is under
farm up a
attack.
bit more. Would love to get a hold of that track, but look, he's going to walk face to face with the Batrider. Drops the clap and pulls out the split, and see you later. Bounty Hunter throws in the Shuriken. Didn't have track for that one, unfortunately, but he's got it now just in case, and they get it done. Meanwhile, top lane, they turn their attention towards Centaur. All he's got to do is press down that R button, baby, and he runs right home. So they do avoid that quick engagement. Bounty Hunter shows up, throws down the track there on Ferrari, and Ferrari, who has a level in Exorcism, would love to start taking some objectives and get a little more gold on his side. But man, I gotta tell you, it's not very often we see a Darkseer go toe-to-toe with a Terrorblade, and that wall is going to put in some early good work. While Terrorblade doesn't have a lot of farm, that big damage he dishes out can really come back and bite him on the ass.
Yeah, they banned out the Morphling because they were afraid of the
Radiant's
Replicant play
middle
against
tower
them, but they
is
still
under
have 2 heroes that can use his illusions against him. The Disruption from the Shadow Demon, the Wall of Replica from the Darkseer. This is a hero that almost exclusively builds agility and strength just to make sure that his conjured images can do the most work, but in this case, it will
Radiant's
actually be
bottom
used
tower
against
is
him
under
in more
attack.
cases than his own. Along with that, right now, they just don't have much control as far as against the Stampede. Later on, the Overgrowth will come into play, and that'll be great if the Treant can close the distance, and also the Death Prophet is making her way
Radiant's
towards the
bottom
Yule
tower
Scepter,
has
but
fallen.
neither one of those are online right now, and as such, Stampede is essentially a get-out-of-jail-free card for anybody across the map. So they have been doing great work with that skill, and now they have the Blink Dagger up on XDD, so getting towers, looking for kills. The track gold is going to just be rolling in a very short time span.
They can't let up. They need to make as much mileage out of their early game aggression and those tracks as long as they can to prevent the late game where it could be a real nuisance of this Death Prophet and Terrorblade. So far, they're off to a reasonably great start. XDD does have that blink, so look for him to try to engage, and with Stampede together, they can really get something happening. So you're going to see some cautious play here, I'd imagine, from IG. No more getting caught out in the jungle all by your lonesome. Get that buddy-buddy system going. But look at them go aggressive here. They're going on in. They know that maybe Terrorblade could be happening about down here, but it's Batrider who quickly flies out from this
Radiant's
one.
bottom
Terrorblade's
tower
forced to
is
ditch
under
this bottom
attack.
lane, and it looks like he might be instead heading towards the mid. He does pull out the power tread, so he builds a little more life, but he's not even at 800 still. So it just goes to show that this guy can be pretty weak. So for now, he'll just farm up the jungle, and LAI Gaming will
Radiant's
continue to
middle
hunt until they get a
tower is
hold of
under
something.
attack. Dire's top
Yeah,
tower
there's going to
is
be the
under
Exorcism
attack.
coming out on top. Fortify will come out
Dire's
immediately
structures
for
are
good measure to
fortified.
avoid as much damage as possible, and if the tower fell, then obviously they would need that anyways. It'd be reset, but actually he's going to take some big damage
Oh,
here.
man.
The Death Ward, and they get the silence off just before he splits. No disruption, no split, no way to survive, and they're rotating just about everybody here to make sure this tower stays
Radiant's
alive. They
bottom
don't want to
tower
give
is under
any
attack.
footholds to IG here, but they have to commit with the Stampede, and June is already
Dire's
zoning
top
them out with the
tower is
Firefly.
under
The
attack.
tower goes down, and that
Dire's
is going to
top
be a pretty
tower
major
has fallen.
foothold. Super will get the split push on. It will finish up his mechanism, but in the meantime, IG gets some great gold across
Radiant's
the board.
bottom tower
Yeah, that
is
was
under
great
attack.
execution right there. They knew that the split was going to be quickly nerfed down, and it just took a quick cast jump in, and the damage was just unleashed there from Chuan, who actually had invested 2 points in the Maldic to really make it worth their while. And they take down the Brew. Very nice grab, and the tower backs it up. LAI Gaming, they do fall back a bit right there, but they've got to keep it strong right now. IG have a long pathway to go down, but it's to the promised land, while LAI Gaming need to try to disrupt that path as much as possible. There's your mechanism now
City
complete.
up top got lassoed, and he will be going down. It's just a right clicks from blue. Mostly, I mean, Chuan helps out a little bit there, but down bottom is where the
Yeah.
action's going to be next.
That's what I was looking out for as they make a move here on Ferrari. They want to get a hold of that Death Prophet, and they're using double ion shells to burn her down, and it doesn't take a whole lot extra as they quickly shuriken it
Radiant's
forward.
middle tower
And that's a
is under
little
attack.
extra gold in the pockets now as the track does begin to work out.
They didn't track him at all.
Oh,
they
he
didn't
didn't?
have the buff. They didn't. I don't know. That was kind of weird.
I mean, I noticed it was off cooldown. I'm like, well, maybe he put it in real early, but I guess he didn't. Yeah, that's a bit of a misplay right there. That could have been some free gold. He throws out the track, though. On mid lane, June, who now has a Blink Dagger on his Batrider, is going to see that. So there is trouble nearby. Bounty
Radiant's
Hunter's
bottom
trying his
tower
best to
is
just
under
kind of
attack.
be a nuisance. LAI Gaming still ahead, though. 7-3. The net worth is relatively close to even because they have only evenly traded towers. But Terrorblade is now finding a little extra space. He has to kind of move all over the map, but he's trying to work with what he can. There's your Bracer follow-up, and with 1,200 gold, I imagine he's going to build forward towards a reliable Yasha just to have. I don't know if they will commit for drums on Terrorblade or not. I'm a bit rusty on my Terrorblade.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be his next course of action. He's got the bracer now, and I think Drums of Endurance is going to give him what he needs to stay mobile, because he has to keep pace with some very quick heroes. The Darkseer Surge, the Stampede, they're going to be moving very, very quickly, even without the track buff. But Cheese
man.
Butt in the mid lane, just absolutely crushed. Not even a chance to cast a spell.
Regular Paul Bunyan there will jump in and just chop down that tree and make a log cabin out of him, as it was just little to no effort to take down that tree support. And now they're all congregated to the mid. They're not going to try to take an objective on the back of that one, though. They quickly spread out like cockroaches after getting that done, and we'll just kind of resume a bit of extra farm on the side as they try to keep it up as much as possible. Speaking of which, we'll touch base on some of these items. Your 5400 Shadow Demon does have his arcanes together. He's also being the one to hold the wards and keep the vision happening right now. Wants to remove any additional sentries that could be out on the side of IG, so Bounty Hunter can have free roam to move about. He's got about 1300 gold. Hard to say, it's not like very often we get to see a 4-position Bounty Hunter. Maybe if it was of the past, you consider getting more survivability first, getting your BKB, but we'll see how he tries to make it work. I mean, Blaze, do you have any wages? It's not very often we get to see this kind of a hero picked up in this position.
Yeah, it really just depends on what role he wants to fill towards the mid to late game, because right now they're going to be relying a lot on their illusion play to take them into the later stages. Like 30 minutes, they themselves don't have anything, but the wall replica will be enough to sustain their team fight. But if he wants to go for a carry role himself, he could be looking towards the Des later or something like that to bring down Ferrari a little bit quicker. Like, the Terrorblade's going to have too much armor, but the Death Prophet, she's only sitting on 7 right now, and that might be their ticket in. So we'll see. Obviously, BKB and Desolator are the two general core items you've seen. I've also seen, like, Admiral Bulldog go for Radiance builds, so that seems a little off the mark for a 4 position.
Oh, they're stampeding. They got the intel there from Bounty Hunter, who quickly makes a move on in. The dust is going to be popped, so they have extra vision, but can Bat Rider get away? He's desperately trying to fly over the trees. Can he get away? Nope, it will not matter, as the track was already put up on him. They have full-blown vision, and he will have nowhere to go. A nice quick grab of a kill right there prevents IG from pushing on forward and getting a hold of this tier 1, and they just quickly disperse elsewhere. And while Ferrari farms up the top side by side with this Terrorblade, they are just doing anything they can to keep these two away from where LAI Gaming are. They have to lose a couple of supports along the way, so be it, but they are going to continue to push on forward towards that late game where they know they have the advantage.
Yeah, just keep on moving across the map. And seeing what they can accomplish here. If they can suppress Chuan, that would be really good, because he's going to be moving in towards Aghanim Scepter very quickly. They do have a number of ways to disable him and cancel out that Death Ward. The Vacuum, I think, is the best one right now, but even still, it's going to be an important thing that if it gets off just one fight with an Aghanim Scepter, the Death Ward will be a very real threat. And yeah, for now, they're just spreading the map a little bit. They've gotten their aggression on. Now they'll fall back for a moment and kind of just clear out the enemy jungle as well as their own, try to be very efficient across the map. We do see the Ring of Health up on the Darkseer as well as the makings of a pipe for XTD, so this is either miscommunication or I hope it's going to be a Crimson Guard on the Darkseer. He's already got 2 pieces of Vanguard, and a Crimson Guard is really good against illusions.
Yes, I was going to just say that very same thing. Crimson Guard is still something that a lot of teams are trying to kind of move into their casual rotation of items that they would get in their lineups, but it does offer a lot in certain lineups, and that could include like a split shot from Medusa where they're trying to spread out the damage, or the illusions, of course. So going against one of the better illusions, they jump on in though. They're going for XC. They're trying to take down the Brewmaster, and with a silence up, he can't get that brew out. Now this is going to be a defensive stampede, but Yules is going to hold you in place, buddy. There's your vacuum back. Super's trying to help out his ally, but they take down 2. They're going to make it 3. This is a disaster right now for LAI Gaming, as IG are all together, and they quickly sweep through 3 of LAI Gaming, and now they're just going to go ahead and just add some pressure, I would imagine, down this mid lane, and that is rough. LAI Gaming cannot afford to lose battles like that when they have a lineup that's banking on doing heavy work in the early game.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that they overcommitted pretty hard. They should just let the Brewmaster die there, but they overreacted. They said, okay, well, with the Stampede, we have a little bit more room to execute. But against Yules, against Overgrowth, that's not really true. There's also going to be a Courier pickoff. It's going to be the Dire Courier, and it's actually, I think, killed off by creeps. I mean, it's just right here, down near the Tier 2 tower, and I think that there's nothing else that could have been.
Yeah, that might have been a careless misplay right there to throw it right into the creeps, and I guess they didn't get the items quick enough. I was just expecting it was going to make its proper delivery, so I didn't even know what the hell was happening there. Could have been a lingering illusion, like who really knows. But for now, it looks like Brew's going to take advantage of that DD, look to push on back, but that's a bit troublesome for him.
Oh, it is an illusion. Yeah, I just double-checked it. 3 hits coming from an illusion of Terrorblade to bring the down.
Yeah, he probably just slipped on through and saw the creep come in. It doesn't take a whole lot for Terrorblade, even as an illusion, to take it down. So unfortunately, LAI Gaming are going to lose their precious cargo wagon.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that they do melee heroes, melee units in general do 50% more damage to flying couriers now. So
does that apply even when he's in ranged form, or is that just get auto changed back?
Well, of course, he wasn't in Metamorphosis, but I think it would not apply while he is in Metamorphosis.
Radiant's bottom tower
I was
is
curious if
under
they classify as a melee from the start or not. Okay, well, they're making it go on bat. They get the track up. He goes for the high ground. Brew's trying to chase, but now he doesn't have the blink as he's walking all through the fire. and he'll have to pull on back. He's not looking to commit the primal split just yet, and Bat is just being ever so elusive. They have full vision on him, but it's taking a lot of extra time, and he will ultimately be able to blink out from that one. So he does kind of get away from the incoming danger, and it's going to be a blink grabbed here on the Bounty Hunter. Interesting. Interesting indeed.
Yeah, that's definitely like up there as far as item selections. It really comes down to how he uses it, whether or not it's the best option. Right now, he's going to be fast-paced with the Brewmaster, with the Centaur, so they have a great pursuit lineup, and they can get right on top of a single target, but there are problems with that, of course. Obviously, if you jump right into an Overgrowth and then some combos coming out from the Witch Doctor and stuff like that, you have to be very careful. So I think the big thing here is knowing where Chuan is in the fight, so he can't just go out of the tree line and go for a Death Ward from there, because that Aghanim Scepter's up. I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but that is a huge pickup. Potentially completely worthless. It's canceled out pretty much immediately by a number of stuns, but if he does it from the tree line, he's not tracked. If in Nature's Guise and catches them off guard, there's so much potential with this ability.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter will hopefully scout that out, get a track properly on Witch Doctor so that even if he gets rooted up, he could throw that shuriken on anyone nearby and be able to stun him out with the new bouncing feature that was implemented. And there they go. That is still hiding out on the side. XDD commits on in, but he gets himself trapped in the trees over here. He eats one stack. They're not going to pursue that out. It's a bit of a hot mess happening right now, but there we go. Jump on in. They get a hold of Super with the lasso, kidnap him back. Desperation. Can he get the wall up? He can't. No, it's lingering on. Defensive disruption going to help him in the meantime. But up and above the left-hand side, Chuan gets quickly taken down from Centaur. But it's Ferrari sweeping on in, cleans out the rest of Centaur. Now their eyes are on 5400, and they get him as well. Make it a 2-for-2. Meanwhile, on the back left side, Bounty Hunter trying to slip in and out, getting anything done, and Brew heavily wounded from that engagement. Oh, he's got to retreat away from this one. Does see the illusion and promptly blinks away. At the end of that one, it does end up being, like I said, a 2-for-2. Maybe a small peak advantage as far as gold and XP towards the side of LAI Gaming, though they only take down the Bat and the Witch Doctor. The fall of Centaur, I think, is just a little more promising.
Yeah, definitely. I think they got a lot out of that there, and Lua's going to be able to gain some real momentum, whether he goes for Sanj or I think more likely the BKB to continue to fight more actively. But I'm kind of surprised Super didn't use the Wild Replica there. Like, nobody was in a very cluster position. The Vacuum hit 3, but they immediately split out. So I'm not sure if the wall would have been great, but just committing it instead of just sitting on this 100-second cooldown.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what his mindset was with that one.
Very intriguing indeed. He maybe just felt very pressured. He narrowly made his way out of that engagement, but I was expecting at least a solid drop of the R button right there, just in desperation mode to make the best for the rest of his allies, and we're not going to see it there. So for now, he'll just kind of nurse it and hope to make it work. Bat Rider now with his full Bat tool belt ready to go. He's got his Blink, he's got his Force Staff underway, and there's your Brew. He's going to actually go more utility. We talked about it yesterday, I think, a bit, and it seems more and more Brewmasters are just kind of leaving behind the Aghanim style build, as don't really know how much it's going to contribute later in the game, and going more utility, more aura, and there's an example of it right there.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really important to keep the activity across the board, to just keep on right-clicking away. Everybody gets a little bit tanky, everybody gets a little bit more staying power, and they get more involved. I mean, they already have great magical nuke damage if XTD gets on the front lines, but they can't just get dropped down by these abilities. The Exorcism, the Death Ward, you can actually evade Death Ward strikes, but you can't block either Exorcism or Death Ward, and that's when armor just becomes the most important thing. You really need to up your physical survivability, and that's the way to do it. So a good casual pickup from him, and it's going to stay up through the fight because it does emanate from the Earth Panda, or actually wherever the Brewmaster, his shadow essentially exists.
And it looks like for IG, they know they're two precious ones, the Death Prophet and the Terrorblade. They're going to keep them on opposite sides of the map. And meanwhile, they're making a go here. They pull the Panda up to the high ground. He does have the Blink to get back down. The track's going to fly out, and Bounty Hunter's on pursuit and try and take down the Bat. But there we go. Oh, Furling Break is going to stop him temporarily, but it's not going to be enough. Bat Rider does end up going down. So a nice quick grab, but what I was going to say is they're going to keep Terrorblade and Death Prophet while they farm as far apart from each other. So while LAI Gaming all try to commit on getting a hold of him at the top, Ferrari just continues to keep on farming down here on the bottom. Now he's going to just start laying in on this tower. He's got 2.2k. Already has that BKB, which is all shiny and new at 10 seconds. sees no threat and is like, I'm just
Dyer's
going to unleash
bottom
this
tower is
exorcism.
under
No
attack.
prob, Bob. And we'll begin to start laying in on this tower. And this is forcing LAI Gaming to scramble. They are just hustling their way over there. And finally, Centaur will commit a TP. And then there'll be actually two. Stampede, they're looking to get aggressive, run right through him. There's your Purge, it's going to land, but BKB's going to be popped, and your Exorcism starting to lay it in on Centaur here. A nearby Bounty Hunter, not committing just yet. And Chuan drops down the cast. This Centaur might fall. Meanwhile, back and behind, Shao Demon will go down to your Treant Protector. They ultimately do take down Centaur. They make it a 2-0. Meanwhile, up and behind, Tree shows himself. And they're looking to jump on in. Oh, the silence as he blinks on in on Brew, and they lasso him up. This guy's not going to get off Primal Split at all, and he goes down. Oh, bummer right there for LAI Gaming, and Super as well goes. 2 to fall without even the opportunity to get anything off. 4 all day. Only Bounty Hunter is going to live on to tell the tale of his fallen comrades.
Man, that silence was just absolutely insane. Predictive and lucky at the same time. You can't get that one that effectively without a little bit of luck, but then they followed up with the Death Ward from Chuan. It's not even a big cooldown to commit, so they're happy to throw it out there, and yeah, they guarantee the Death Ward full duration as a result of that. That was just perfect timing. Could have been completely different if the Brewmaster got the clap split off, but just too quick on the trigger fingers is Ferrari here, the pianist. But we're going to see him progress towards some more survivability items, most likely. It's still kind of the core aspect of the hero to just stay as long as possible throughout the fight. So I expect a Shiva's Guard next for him. He's already got the BKB, the Yules, and has been using them to great effect. So we've been talking about this all game long, but it's still worth noting. LAI Gaming, they're on the clock. It's not over just at this like 30-minute mark necessarily, because although they don't have a traditional carry, Luo is kind of their carry because they can wall of replicate him, they can disrupt him, and they can turn their own carry against him. So there's some merit to that line of thought, but even still, they need momentum. They need to get kills back in their favor, and they need this track to do some work.
I don't know, man. As Ferrari's now bullying back the Beefcake Centaur War Runner. They won that fight without Terrorblade being involved whatsoever, and that is just devastating for LAI Gaming, because Terrorblade had just went on a farming spree in the top lane and brought in a serious chunk of change. Now has his BKB well and complete, and already looking to invest on further. That by the time they think that they're going to be able to use Luo to their advantage, he is going to be out of control. In fact, who even knows if he wants to get involved in these fights? He might just continue to make a split push happen till the end of time, and he starts taking down your base while LAI Gaming are struggling making a fight happen 4 versus 5. I mean, they might already know that that could be their best advantage, and they'll just never even give it to him. We'll have to see how it decides to play out here as IG now stroll on through their Invis. The Invis people all across each other, they don't even know what the hell's happening. And now they decide to scout it on out. Bounty Hunter shows himself, making it go on Chuan, but meanwhile your last is going to catch there on Brew. Is Brew going to get it off this time? He gets silenced again! The Death Ward now dropped! Big damage! Oh, Super as well will be 2 fights where they get nothing off. IG, man, looking to clear house. No mercy coming out. That Exorcism in a desperate Centaur trying to get away, and I don't think there's any hope for him. He just tries to pass down, and once again, Bounty Hunter, time and time again, my team falls, they die, and I'm the only survivor. And that was a quick GG call there to wrap that one up, and they already knew they could not get their game plan done, and it's just way too late at this point. It's over.
Yeah, they might have canceled it. No, they're going to resume it. So they don't want to go for the BMGG where they call it, they say, fake, and we go back to it. They know long-term this is a losing strategy. They gave their best shot, but it just wasn't enough here. I would love to say typical Bounty Hunter contribution to just jump into the fight, hop a track, and then walk away. But there was one key thing that he did, and that was actually get the Shuriken toss and cancel the Death Ward. It was about 2 or 3 seconds in, and he did cancel it. Unfortunately, you've got a level 18 Death Prophet on your heels that is still dealing the damage. So, in the end, LAI Gaming aren't able to triumph, and even without Luo, I kind of feel like this was a 4v5 game. The Darkseer Shadow Demon picks nullified TB's contribution, but even without Luo, I feel that LAI Gaming were kind of outmatched just because of how great the ultimates were from IG.
Yeah, it's hard to really tell what the game plan... I mean, we knew what the game plan was, but as the draft started out and they handed over that Death Prophet Terrorblade, I don't know if they saw that and were like, you know what? We've been thinking and trying to work on a strategy to kind of fight back against this kind of a lineup, and we'll roll with this, or if they kind of put themselves in a corner as far as trying to go aggressive real hard, real early. But clearly, it was a small, promising start, but ultimately, IG, the experienced squad, just knew how to keep it cool and calm, and they ended up coming back hard, and there was just really nothing LAI Gaming could do, and they were aware of that, so they go ahead and throw in the towel, even if it is a little bit early. So, with that said, that's the conclusion of our third matchup for the night. We do have one more to come your way, as I am desperately looking on my calendar here to see what the heck the next matchup actually is. As I scroll on down, it is going to be IG once again, but now they're going to be taking on LGDC Deck, and that's going to be coming up at 14:45 CEST. Make sure you hang around for that one. If you like what you heard, you can catch me over on Twitter at Coddle Guy. Joining me, it's going to be Blaze. Catch him on his Twitter over at Blaze Casting. We do appreciate your support, and of course, so does Beyond the Summit. You can get the ticket in the store, $9.99. You get that sweet little Husky Courier, which you can adopt and take home with you, and you get a hold of all the action from all 4 regions, and there's a lot more games to come. One more for tonight, though, folks. Please stick around. We'll be back in just a moment.